Hey yo, what's going on everybody? Welcome to my new video. Today we're gonna talk about and focus on endgame build for Spiritborn. I decided to go with as I had access to the Vessel of Hatred review server. And here it goes. I've left also a lot of different guides and builds for Barbarian, leveling build for Spiritborn, Dark Citadel, the raid, and Undercity, and all the good stuff. So this is Infernal Horde, Torment 4, the highest difficulty. It took me 5 days to grind it, or actually I spent 5 days grinding this character. It was not min-max grinding as well because I had to do some real life and whatnot. So my gear is not the best. I don't really have good masterworks at all. And I do all my builds on Mobalytics, so I will have this link in the description. But for this build, I'm gonna take you into the game because this is the in-game is more updated. But as far as I know, the patch we were playing on here is one patch behind compared to the release version 1. So some things will get changed. But anyways, I'm very surprised, not surprised, but very... It was pleasant and enjoyable to play this class, very fluid, very smooth. I'm gonna be starting with this character for sure because it's good for speedruns in Undercity. That's a timed content, you will need some fast builds and whatnot. Same goes kind of for the Dark Citadel, so I just like the idea and mechanics behind this class where you actually use Thorns as an active stat to attack, damage type. So I'm a big fan of that. This is a very tanky class as well. Thanks to our key passive, I have non-stop a lot of damage reduction, and there is actually no purple item needed for this build. None whatsoever. No Harlequin Crest, no Tyrell's Might. There is a new headpiece, Perdition. A lot of people were using it back in PTR, and it was the same here on the server where Perdition was actually giving you much more damage increase against demons than it was supposed to. So you were basically dominating everything with that headpiece, but I don't have it. I did not use it on purpose because I want to see what this build can do without using anything bugged or any bugged interactions, right? So Horde, once again, it has no tiers anymore. Same goes to Nightmare Sigils, Nightmare Dungeons. So this is just, it will vary from waves, from wave 6, 8, and 10. So this was, I think this is wave 6. It's a short one, so just to show you because I'll show you more and get more gameplay with this build. I'm going to take you to bosses. We are using the Seeker ultimate because Seeker knocks down enemies, and we have a passive where we deal more damage to knock down enemies, which on bosses triggers when there is a blue above bar, right? And this is also a deep dive on how Thorns actually works and interacts, because shout out to Bjorn, the dev who designed this class. He got us all the answers we are asking for in details to understand it correctly and properly in details. It was really amazing. Shout out to him. Thanks for helping us out. But as you can see, absolutely smashing through the bosses. Once again, this is not fully min-max character, not fully upgraded. There is also a very important glyph that scales your thorns from dodge, and that was not working in this version. So I was missing a lot of thorns, so that's a lot of damage, right? But I'll show you in the pit. The highest I got to was pit tier 80, but once again, I did not really push in the pit as much because I just tried once tier 80. This is the run. It was with Bramble as the end boss, which is horrible. Bramble is one of the worst bosses, I would say. But yeah, I didn't really push pit because, yeah, no gear, or not really fully maxed gear. My glyphs were level 50. That was also not maxed out. And as I wanted to cover more topics and just more videos and guides for you guys, I just, didn't really push through and only dedicate my time to only one class. I wanted to min-max Barbarian as well, but sadly, there is an issue with materials. There was almost no way to get materials in this version, which is fixed for the live version. So upgrading and just overall tempering, masterworking, enchanting, oh my god, that was pain. Materials, I mean mainly rawhide and iron chunks. It was very bad. If you thought S5 was bad, this was even worse. But yeah, it's no longer relevant. It was only for this version, so it made it kind of hard to try out all the possibilities and variants and whatnot for the builds, because some builds really unlock once you gear them out and whatnot with masterworks. Once again, that does a lot actually. And then again, also the drafts with ancestrals with the greater epics, which is actually much easier now to get because with the Horde, the last chest, it was 200 ether and you were guaranteed to get greater epics, so it was pretty cool. I'll also show you a new way how to get items for free basically. That's gonna be another video, another different content for Mercenaries. There is a great way to get easy materials, easy items, even aspects, some very great stuff. Also, a lot of boss mats from that. So yeah, I'll show you in a bit. But I'll take you through the boss, Bramble. Just show a little bit here. So yeah, I'm using Seeker once again. It also applies vulnerability. I think it lasts for 4 seconds. And with great thing with Seeker, it comes with 3 charges as ultimate. And you can make it so you can temper your jewelry where it adds you Seeker charges. On Ancestral Ring or Amulet, you can get 3 charges per each jewelry. So I have +3 charges on both rings. I did not take it on Amulet because I went with basic skill damage. Because we're using basic skill Rock Splitter. So yeah, Seeker, amazing ultimate. I should have used it more often here for damage probably, but it's really crazy. Using Toxic Skin, that also increases your thorns into poisoning enemies, but we poison them with the Stinger, which is on my left click. That's a core ability. That's actually my vulnerability on the target. There are 2 core skills I could use for a vulnerable, guaranteed a vulnerable. It's either Stinger or it could be the Quill, but I think I like Stinger more for the poison, just for the reason where Toxic Skin passively increases your thorns into poisoning enemies, so I just went with it. I'm not sure if I could tank these spikes. I probably should have tried it and tested it out, but I didn't go for it. This run still has 5 minutes left, so with better setups and overall, I also was using bad Mercenary. I don't know what skill. I tried to read through the tooltips, but it seems like Rahir's abilities, I think was greater or something, makes it so it knocks mobs away, which is horrible. You don't want it in pit, so that kind of skewed my packs and elites and whatnot. So we got this going. I'll show the boss now, that the boss runs. This is the tier 4 Torment for Duriel. All these boss skills I'm gonna show you, they were a bit behind in the gear than what I had in the pit. So right now I have a bit better gear, meaning like more ranks on the masterwork, but not by much. And that's Thorns increase mainly through Razorblade. Razorblade is definitely a thing you want to get on a Thorns character. That's what we want. It drops from 0, so I'll make sure to grind it early on as soon as I can. But also using Ravager, there's a very interesting interaction with Ravager, because Ravager is not an ability that attacks. It's like a buff for you, like a shout or roar, that makes it so you deal more attacks. So I'm gonna show you what it affects, since we're using only Gorilla skills. That was a beefy 73 million hit right there. If you are wondering how come I am overpowering and critting, it is because there is so Thorns cannot crit or overpower, but there is something called true crit and true overpower, and that happens through the rune that I have. Also, another thing, I was super unlucky with runes. Like, I farmed quite a lot of bosses and whatnot, and a lot of them on tier 4, Torment 4 as well, but I was just super unlucky on the runes. The only thing I got was this guaranteed overpower, which is good, and the Necromancers that Cripify. And later on, I also used Dark Shroud for the Citadel from Rogue, because I needed the DR. Because there was an overtuned boss in the second wing with his dot. It's crazy. It might be because of bug barrier, but yeah, in general, the runes not really lucky. But yeah, the guaranteed crit and overpower is through Alma rune. I'll show in a second. And there's also the shrine, a lethal shrine, that will make it so you will get guaranteed crits. That's also a lethal, true crit. So with Thorns, you will be able to crit with that shrine. And yeah, this rune as well. So they also, I think it was 600 cost of offering in this version, but on live server it will be 500, so that's pretty cool. So this is Ice Beast. For probably one of my favorite bosses, because if you don't one-tap them, the mechanics are pretty cool. And sometimes even butt clenching if it's like really tight, right? But you don't want to get hit by his abilities, because all these bosses, when they use their ability, you will get a stack of debuff, and that stacks up to 3. And basically, if you get 3 stacks, you'll get deleted through basically from anything. So once again, I'm holding back on Seeker, I feel like. I got 11 charges, but I'm holding back on that, man. Gotta say so. But there is also a way where, probably why, if you use, there's a passive. If you use Ultimate, you have a like up to 5 seconds to use a defensive and I believe focus and incarnate skills for free, no cooldown at all. So the cooldown reduction with this build is absolutely through the roof. And that's why I maxed out, put all points in Armored Height and Toxic Skin, because the extra ranks in them makes it so they last longer. So I always try to reset Armor Height, because Toxic Skin lasts for a long time, has a pretty short cooldown. I'm not sure if I had the right headpiece, because I was running a Loyalty, but I'm not sure if I had a good one here. But this was Ice Beast, and the only difference in boss loot, by the way, from Torments is you'll get +1 extra item. So yeah, nothing too crazy, right? So +1 extra item from tier 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I believe obviously a higher chance of runes as well as you climb up. Varshan on this version was bugged with his barrier. he actually was activating barrier for no reason, and if you could even damage through it, and it would still be on still be on him. But this run, this skill was actually quite alright. It didn't bug out too much for the barrier. You can see here the barrier stays there for no reason, because after you kill all his enemies before he consumes it, then he should not have any barrier. So yeah, once again with these AoEs, you do not want to get hit by it. But because of our active barrier, our damage, our survivability is absolutely crazy. I wish I could use one more aspect, and that will be conceded. And conceded gives you damage while barrier is active, but I had no space for it here. But let me fast forward. It should be actually done soon. Yeah, like this barrier is just absolutely crazy on this version, on this one. There it is. All right, then the last one we got over here is Zir. I'm not sure if Zir is a demon. I think I tried Perdition Headpiece Zir. I'm not sure though. I'm not sure. But yeah, once again, with the Perdition Headpiece, it was still bugged even in this server, where it dealt more damage than intended. So I didn't want to really rely on that. I wanted to see how it goes without it. I tried Harlequin Crest. I had the greater affix on armor and resource, I think, but nah, it wasn't good. Harlequin Crest, not really that great. The Loyalty Headpiece, the unique class specific, was so much better. It's very nice. It was very, very nice. But this is here. After this, I'll take you in the game, and we're gonna talk about some stuff. So, first things first, I'm in the den with the Mercenaries, but again, this is for another video. So for the skills, I went with the Rock Splitter. Now, we're mainly playing around this accelerated Rock Splitter because we are using a unique weapon here where it makes your basic attack always deal 3rd attack. And every 3rd attack from this, it will hit 3 times. But the only thing that scales, like in general, right? In general, from your Spirit Hall, from Thorns, nothing really scales with Thorns as aka extra skill ranks. They don't scale with this. The only thing that scales is actually basic skill damage. That's why you see me with these gems. And also you can see the tempers here, basic damage. I also go with adaptability and Moonrise because they also apply to Rock Splitter. That's why I went with as a Thorns version with this bad boy. This also adds you 80 Thorns, which is pretty bad. It's like non-existent at all. But once we get the glyph working, the glyph in Mention is not working. It's called the Hubris. Where is it at? So you can see my glyphs are level 50. Hubris, this one scales your Thorns from dodge. So this one is not working. Once it will be, the damage will go through the roof even more, which is pretty insane. Gonna wait for that. So our main ability also gives you block. Block is very important because when you block, you also have a block damage reduction. You will see in the passive. So on top of all the other damage reductions, it's really good. Big fan. Now Stinger is to apply poison, but mainly for vulnerability. You need to be healthy for that, so keep that in mind. Follow through, amazing stuff. I don't have a max for, I'm missing 2 ranks from the staff here, so that's a lot of damage actually. So this build doesn't even have maxed aspects, so I'm missing a lot of damage there too. Velocity not really needed, we don't really need vigor. Now amazing cluster of passives, Apex for dealing damage to vulnerable damage, and more so for against elite enemies. So you could scale into vulnerable on like affixes. Diminishment for damage reduction. We got also Unrestrained Power. This will give you a non-stop damage increase because our second hull is, if you're above 5 stacks of Resolve, you're unstoppable. And our Armored Hide always gives us max Resolve. So you can see the second upgrade right there. More about it later. Got that going. Now Ravager, this is by default Jaguar skill, but since we use Spirit Hall as a Gorilla, it's also Gorilla. But how this works, there's an insane passive that's probably the best on Spiritborn. It's called Potent. Hitting enemies with Jaguar skills increases the damage they take from you up to 50% because I have +2 ranks from Amulet. Now, it's confirmed that even though this is a buff and not attack ability itself, if you proc this and then attack with the Gorilla skill, let's say Rock Splitter, because it's our main damage, it will still put Potent on the enemies, which is insane. I'm really happy that this interaction exists. I really like that. So, nice one. Toxic Skin, once again, maxed out for the duration for 7 seconds. We are mainly going for this one. Passively increases Thorns you deal to poison enemies. So we keep poison on targets thanks to this bad boy and the vulnerability. So once we get, well, we don't even need to proc this, right? We can just leave it there. So I don't even know why I keep procking this one that much. Probably, well, this is good for AoE because enemies attack you. You get this the green cloud around you, or on the ground, so that poisons the enemies. Pretty good. Armored Hide, this also increases the duration on this bad boy. So you will gain 2 resolve every 5 seconds. Resolve is damage reduction. It gives you 20% damage reductions, not for each stack. It's just in general 20% DR. And if you take 1 hit, 1 stack will be removed. So that's pretty good. Increases Thorns by a lot. See, this is 748 and this one is 80. I'm not sure if this is a bug, but this is, yeah, that's bad. And the other upgrade here is what I talked about, block damage reduction up to 20%. That's very good. More about it, you get block chance here passively. If you stand still, you will gain block damage reduction, which we do quite a lot on bosses. Auspicious, this will give you more barrier because from the Spirit Hole, you will be able to get only 30%. Thanks to our loyalty, I'm able to get 60% barrier as default. And this goes well with the Paragon, which is, I believe, right here, down here. For you do more, you deal increased damage multiplier for each 3% of your max life as you have as a barrier. So pretty good stuff. Right. Next up after this, we got the Resilient, gives you max HP, and the passive I was talking about earlier I actually don't have because I don't have enough passive points. It's just too many to go for. I could maybe go from Toxic Skin and put it here because like this is a passive Thorns. You don't need to activate Toxic Skin for this, so yeah. Next up we got Seeker. All 5 things in here for Glow Reduction. This one will knock down enemies for 4 seconds. Also guaranteed crit strike. We don't really care about that though. And also you get Exile Seeker that makes enemies vulnerable. Now the interaction with the Seeker, it's like I think every 0.35 seconds apparently it applies vulnerable. So it could work. It could work with Vile Strikes here. So every 0.35 seconds it will make enemies vulnerable if you remove it with Vile Strikes. There is some delay obviously. So this is not too bad. I tried it, but I still like the other one more. Now the big cluster for ultimate is why I chose Seeker as well, because of a lot of charges we can spam that. So increase damage for 3 seconds, doubles if you're fighting one enemy against boss, which doesn't really happen too much in the Citadel, sometimes actually. Now Supremacy is another extra damage increase, but ultimate ends, you gain 5 stacks of Supremacy. This works against bosses. Otherwise, when you kill enemies while the ultimate is active, you will get stacks of Supremacy. And another one, last one, Intricacy. This is the cooldown reduction I was talking about. This is upon casting ultimate skill, which is Seeker. The last different potency, defensive, and focus skill you cast prior is reset. It can be cast for free. So what I do with rotation basically, or I'll talk about later, but I just like to always activate Armored Hide before I use the Seeker and then Toxic Skin, so this bad boy gets reset. And also, I first start with Ravager. So Ravager, Toxic Skin, Armored Hide, wait like 5 seconds, Seeker, use it again, back and forth. And the key passive we got going down here is Adaptive Stances. Our main ability is Gorilla, so we get 30% damage reduction. Back and forth, we go with Jaguar, Centipede, that's attack speed, life per second, and Seeker is movement speed. Nothing really that crazy, but it's also to proc the core stats by 50%. This is amazing, because it will give you strength, dexterity mainly. Dexterity gives you skill damage, which also scales from Thorns if you hover over it. Damage dealt is affected by the skill damage increase from your dexterity. So you want to stack dexterity. That's why I have it on the amulet. And that's why the main glyph, which I don't have right now, I don't use because I believe Headhunter needs to be, you know, buffed to or leveled to level 70 at least to get good, decent bonus to magic notes. Excuse me, normal notes. So Headhunter could go really well with this one. But there's quite a lot of what's it called, Paragon or glyphs actually for this build. But going over the Paragon tree right now, the first one we got is Exploit. It goes very well. Vulnerable in general because of the passive you saw it. Goes very well hand in hand. I maxed it out as well. You want to focus on as many HP notes as possible as well, because that's great for sustain. On the second board, I went with Spiny Skin. Now all these things could be a bit different when it comes to numbers on the live server, because we will have death stream. From this video is recorded on the 1st, so tomorrow on the 2nd will be the death stream, but you guys will be in the future already because I'm from the past, so you will know more. We will know more. But once again, the build on Mobalytics will be updated with notes in it if anything changes. So yeah. You want to focus amazing board. Like all these boards have amazing passive notes. They are mostly for HP increase. This one is even cooldown reduction. Resistances, armor as well. You get some thorns here. Another armor, all resistance will be very important as we are not using Harlequin Crest for armor or Ethereal Smite for resistances. So that's very important. Really glad they added so many resistances. I hope it will stay for the release. Now, Revenge here, we want to put this because it buffs rare nodes, and we got melee for this bad boy for increased thorns. So this should be one of the priorities to max out to buff the thorns here, because that's damage. Third board we got going is Infighter. That's why we want to stack dodge as well, because you will get, when you dodge or block an attack, you'll get attack speed and increased damage, stacking up 9 times. It's pretty good. Like both stats in one, amazing. The glyph here, I go with Managerist, whatever its pronunciation is. Bonus to magic nodes, nothing too exciting. It's just damage nodes here on this board. Nothing too crazy. But when you deal damage with your gorilla skills or, other skills, you deal 4% damage for each spirit stacking, so you can get it 3 times, 12% stacking, because we have all 3 spirits, no problem, always active, excuse me. Some more dodge chance and armor, some more arm, HP and resistances, but we get block here and resistances, which is good. On end of the board, we got Sapping. When you cast 3 Gorilla, Jaguar, Eagle, or Centipede skills with the same spirit in a row, which we do Rock Splitter, we spam the bad boy. You will gain Vigor. We don't really care about that, but you will get 30% damage increase for 5 seconds. X is amazing. Very good. Some more HP, dodge, and attack speed. Amazing stuff. Max resource. We don't need that. This board is not really that great for the resource. Because of the resource, over here, but I picked this only for the dexterity node, extra points, right? But here we go with Hubris, the one that doesn't work, so I don't even have the active. So bonus to magic nodes, extra damage here, no problem. Nothing too big, whatever. Extra nodes for dex because I don't know where else to put them, so I'll put them in the main stat. And the last board we got is Vicious Shield. The more barrier you have, the more damage you get or deal. That's why we have the passive, the skill tree. The while barrier active, so sometimes when I get a dot on me, basically barrier just cancels out the damage over time. So when I have a dot on me and there are no mobs around, I just keep spamming around Splitter. I just hold shift. If you hold shift, you will start attacking on the position, on the position. So I just keep spamming Splitter because it will generate barrier for you. So the last board is this, and we go with Colossal. This one will increase the damage. Thorns in general get increased by Gorilla skills damage. There's also a temper for it. So anything that has Gorilla tag on its skill tag, it will get increased by this temper basically. If it wasn't for basic skill. So if you're doing a normal Gorilla Thorns build without basic skill, you want to go for Gorilla damage temper or potency. Potency, Spirit Hole is also pretty good. Very good. So damage for each resolve you have, you get 12 stacks of resolve. So that's a lot of damage increase for one glyph. It's really crazy good. And some extra points here, barrier generation, so that's pretty good. Lucky chance, why not? But yeah, barrier generation, I like this one. We cannot create, or we can create because of the rune, right? So we could probably get some crit damage and whatnot on the side. Like even put them here. Actually, I could do it like this, to be honest, and get more damage from the runes. Why haven't I thought about that? Anyways, that was the setup right now. The Spirit Hole, you already saw that. What we got going over here. For the Mercenaries, I got right here. I like Valiance. A lot of great stuff for survivability, even if you take like lethal damage. So Valiance here, soaking damage basically. Or like, CC, extra CC, excuse me, giving you unstoppable. We don't need that. We get a ground slam. I think this one actually knocks mobs away. You don't want that. So this is, I don't know, man. But you get permanent 15% all rest. Very important later on in Torments. That's why I picked it initially. But I mainly picked Bastion here. This one is the soak damage every 30 seconds. That's amazing stuff. And also Inspiration here. Every time he uses Ground Slam, they take increased damage, multiplier. And while Bastion is on you, standing inside Bastion, you'll get increased damage. Goes for the group. So this is pretty crazy. And I just did Dark Citadel today. And as far as I could tell, only active was Variana. I'm not sure if it overlaps in the party frame, but only active was Variana. So maybe it takes your Enlistment Mercenary as active one, so I should probably swap him out, but yeah. For this Berserker Variana, I got Ancient Harpoons to pull mobs together. Nothing too great because the cooldown is super long, so nothing that crazy. I'm missing ability that actually soaks mobs in. I believe right here has some that soaks them in. I think it was Crater right here. Yeah, pulling in enemies every second for 3 times, so this one will be great. I might actually go with this one. You get also increased vulnerable. This one is pretty good for core skills, actually. When Valines is triggered, your next 4 core skills within 10 seconds deal increased damage, costs no resource. That's amazing, and reduces the cooldown of this by 25%, so that's pretty cool. That could be pretty good for a core skill. There's also a second version for this bad boy, for this build for Thorns. That is with a core skill called Rake. Rake is amazing, probably the best core skill. Gives it Ferocity. Ferocity is attack speed for a 5% for each stack. And I'll probably go with Advantageous Rake here. Now I have leveling build for Spiritborn. You can check in the right upper corner. That one uses Rake. There's amazing aspect on this bad boy. And I would with this setup, I would use Mystic Circle with Jaguar probably. So yeah. Next up, we got Consumables. I'm rocking Iron Barbs here for extra armor and Thorns increase. And Consumables, I mean, the Incense, we get Dexterity increase, and we get some Thorns extra as well. You want to stack this as much as possible, because that's just our damage, right? Let's go with the gear. It's the last one here. I know this video is already going for quite long, but this is a deep dive, and I want to explain everything I can, everything I know about this bad boy. So, Loyalty's Mantle. Amazing stats on this: damage reduction, movement speed, velocity. Don't really need that, but the bonuses of Spirit Hole is 100% increased. So this one, outside of town, outside of safe zone, this turns into 200% Thorns. Apparently this does not work on Rock Splitter on the 3rd attack, but it does work on everything else. I believe this still works even on Rock Splitter, the 3rd attack, but I could be wrong though. That's what I felt like when I unequipped and equipped it, or changed the headpiece. So we will definitely want to go for this one, and 60% cooldown reduction for, Gorilla skills, which is for this one. It goes really low. Amazing stuff. Great uptime on this as well. Razor Blade, pretty self-explanatory. Thorns increased and chance to deal 200% damage, so a lot of stuff. On the gloves here, I went with attack speed for Rock Splitter. Again, not even maxed out. I'm at 7% attack speed here. Armor extra dexterity attack speed. Active Thorns bonus is something you can get on Armored Hide, so we are getting even more than, I believe. It doesn't update the tooltip, but yeah, we get even more Thorns. Amazing. I got the same on the boots here. I got high rolls, resistances, armor, dexterity. You see I'm missing armor, but that's because I don't have a potion up. I don't have incense up as well, which you could easily reach the cap of 1000 with incense. Here, one of my favorite movement aspects, haste here, increased movement speed. Love this stuff. Amazing. On the pants, Tybalt's Will. Once we get Hubris Glyph working, where dodge scales or Thorns scale from dodge, I'll probably go with legendary pants with dodge greater affix and put an aspect called wards. I believe I don't have that on me right now, but that one gives you damage reduction when if this right here. Block damage reduction is increased by 25%. In combat, my block with Rock Splitter, I'm getting like 85% block chance. That's very damn good. So I'll be going with that. Sepa Zone Tech here, chance for basic skill to deal double damage. This is confirmed to apply on Rock Splitter as well on the third attack. So amazing stuff. Missing 12% damage again in here. So it is what it is. But great passes, follow through. Missing 2 ranks as well. It's for this bad boy. Yeah, a lot of damage. Now next up on the Amulet Jewelry, we got Moonrise aspect for buffing basic skill and attack speed as well. The best aspect you can get for this setup. Cooldown reduction, dexterity increase, potent for the passive damage increase, and the active duration for Armored Hide, so this lasts even longer to guarantee that uptime, so we don't even need to rely on cooldown reduction from Harlequin Crest. Because, I mean, we get 60% here, right? It's crazy. And we get even damage reduction here. So if you can catch this as a greater affix, it's gonna be the same as Harlequin Crest, even more though, if you masterwork it, so that's crazy. Basic damage, we want to temper this on all these 4 items to increase Rock Splitter. Missing 6% damage here on the aspect, pretty meh. Needle Flare aspect on the ring. I was torn. I'm not sure whether I should put it on Amulet. It would probably be better on the Amulet and Moonrise on the ring at the cost of lower damage, but you will proc this even more often, which is probably better. But I don't have enough mats to transfer them. Because as you can see, 35 chunks, 63 rawhide. I'll show you how much it costs. What is it we want? We want Needle Flare. I'll show you. This is like 200. Yeah, you cannot see me right. You cannot see right now, but it's like 225, right? That's crazy. That's crazy. But it will change on the real server, real patch. I mean, launch. Secret charges. It goes up to 4 plus 4 if you masterwork it. 4 ranks in it. That's crazy. Dex increase, attack speed, lucky hit, not really needed. I would want to get like, I would say vulnerable damage or life, it depends, probably vulnerable. Or even crit. Now I'll go with Wall. On this one, we got Dexterity, Life, Attack Speed, Seeker Charge again, and Basic Damage. On this one, we go with Adaptability for even more damage as well. Missing 20% on this itself as well. This is crazy. Like, my aspects miss like 50% damage. It's wild. And of course, the Thorns here as well, right? But the highest rolls, and yeah, if you get greater graphics, it's just GG, right? So much damage. And yeah, I believe that was it. The rotation, once again, I start with Jaguar, a Ravager, because once you kill mobs, you can guarantee this uptime for forever, basically. If you keep killing mobs in Horde, for example, you have to proc this once at the beginning and then just at bosses. That's it. It will be active for the whole time. This is amazing because it gives you +2 ferocity, which is 10% attack speed non-stop. That's pretty good. So we go with Ravager, we go with Toxic Skin for poisoning enemies around us that hit us, and then Armored Hide to give us Thorns active and Resolve. And then you just Seeker away to reset cooldown this bad boy, and he will just rock split around. He will just, rock split and keep uptime on the vulnerable with Stinger if you don't use Seeker. But there is actually what I would want to go, right? So I would want to put on the ring with a Lucky Hit Vulnerable. If I had that, Periodic 3 times with this weapon here with Rock Splitter, so I'm pretty sure Vulnerable would be up non-stop. I believe that interaction is bugged on the server, but if I could put it on the ring and it works, I could totally drop Toxic, I could drop Stinger, and I could go with the Rake instead. That reduces the cooldowns, right? So this will be an absolute peak. It also does pretty good damage, much more than Rake, Stinger, excuse me. I tried it out, so you would want to put Rake here instead of Stinger if you can get Lucky Hit Vulnerable, because the poisoning we will lose from Stinger, but we have poisoning from Toxic Skin, so that doesn't really matter, right? So yeah, that would be really good. That would be really good. But yeah, anyways, I think we covered everything. I'm sorry, this is 30 minutes. I'm very sorry. I'll put the timestamps if you guys last until this long. I appreciate you all for watching. I'm live every day on Twitch and YouTube. If you guys want to check me out, please do so. We'll be more than happy to see you there. But until next time, you guys have a great one, and peace out.